learn something. Welcome to Elevate and Illuminate the Empowerment Podcast, Episode 5. I am Jamarcus Fields, your host. I'm also the founder and executive director of Iron Sharpens Iron WAST. That is WAST, which stands for We Are Stronger Together. Um, Episode 5. Like we flying on through this thing, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I appreciate everybody's support. Um, and just checking out what we doing, man, and following Iron Sharpens Iron and all the work that we doing, man. Please continue to support. Make sure y'all go to the website Iron Sharpens Iron Wasp um, .org and check out the movement. See what we got going on, what we doing. Um, Coming to a community near you. We're gonna put it like that. So that's enough about me. I'm gonna go ahead and let my guest introduce himself, and uh, and then we're gonna get off into this conversation. The floor yours, bro.
All right. So my name is Patrick Cox. Um, Definitely justice involved individual. Got incarcerated at the age of 18, and I was originally sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. So they was telling me I would never go home again. I'd never see the streets again. But God come in there and he rewrote that story for me. So I ended up serving 26 years, but I've been released. I'm home, doing good. Try to stay active in with the other Iron Men. We definitely try to give back, stay on a positive note. But that's what we're here for right now. Introduce everybody, and today's my time.
Absolutely, your time to shine. So, just some housekeeping notes. The chat room is open. So, anybody have any questions that they want to ask, some comments, just anything you want to add to the to leave it in the chat. Let's see, we already got a couple people chiming in. Um, and Keska,
Keisha.
don't quite know how to
Yeah,
say it again.
Keisha. Keisha.
Okay, so they definitely said hi to you. KC said hello. What's up, sis? Um, so I just heard you in your introduction say that you weren't supposed to ever come home.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So so that's a that kind of into that takes me, and of course during my time I ran into other individuals like that, man. But like those were the things that helped me put my situation in its proper context. Because when I hear sentences like that, it didn't make mine seem as bad as it originally seemed. So having never been in that position, I want to ask you, like during that period of your life in that time, especially at 18 years old, like kind of take us through the mind of that 18-year-old man, like that started this journey off, man. Like give us the inside glimpse, man.
Man, how do I start? So emotional roller coaster describes it pretty well. You know, it was a matter of I never wanted to lose hope. I felt like as long as you still have hope, there's always going to be an opportunity. And it was just a matter of waiting until it played out. So psychologically going in there, 18, I'd been living with my parents. I worked and stuff, you know what I mean? But I wasn't at all, responsible adult. So living as a kid still and getting locked up with that mentality, now I'm in there with all these grown men. I used to describe it as I thought myself as a gladiator, but then I go to prison and I'm just one of the many gladiators. So it was like, okay, you got to grow up real fast. And in the
Yeah.
same sense, try to stay out of trouble, try to get you some education and programs in, and, wait on an opportunity for that door to open. So that was the only thing that really kept me grounded. And as I was transitioning through that, I got reconnected with God, and that was the foundation of all my hope. So I just had to
Absolutely.
be still. That was the key right there. Be still, and that don't mean don't work because you already know you still got to move your feet. You still got to do your thing. But as far as trying to figure it all out on my own, I had to give that to him because it wasn't working. You know, at that time I wasn't at all emotionally stable enough to deal with that sort of a situation. But
Absolutely.
somehow
Absolutely.
we make it through it.
Absolutely. I've often, coined my term that, I went to sleep a little kid and had to wake up a grown man.
Yeah, good analogy.
And I didn't know what it meant to be a grown man, but like overnight I had to figure it out. Like,
Straight up.
like my survival depended on it, man.
Like you said, you got to be ready to merge. You know what I mean? Coming in there merging. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is.
Absolutely. Uh Good evening, Lisa. Thank you for joining us in from work. Virginia, hey sis. Yes, he definitely is good. Ain't that it?
Yes, sir.
Um, so how long you been home now?
I got home in September of 2021. So I've been home for a little over about 3.5 years now.
Okay, good stuff. So how was that transition?
Man, it was kind of rough at first, to be honest.
Hmm.
So the struggles I had was coming home. I felt like everybody knew I was, just getting out of prison.
Right,
And in all actuality, they didn't have a clue, but that's the way it felt. Uh, so going through that, you kind of have a complex or whatever, in the back of your mind. And it took me a minute to kind of get past that. Really, what helped me was a guy I worked with. He was sitting there. I come into work late one day, and he said, "Dang, bro, where was you at?" And I thought, "Oh, man, I had to go see my PO." And he was like, "Well, what do you mean your PO?" I said, "My parole officer." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just got out." He said, "I thought you said you was at a work release." I said, "Yeah, it was a DOC work release." He said, "What was you in work release for?" I said, "Well, murder." He said, "They put people in work release for murder?" I was like, "No, you got to work to get there." You know what I mean? But I said it was a transition program, reentry start. So he was just a blew away that I was incarcerated. He didn't have a
Right,
clue. He was like, uh, "I would have never guessed that you was even locked up. You'd ever been in trouble like that. You don't carry yourself like that," which I think
right,
is one of the bigger compliments I've gotten. I've heard that from a few different people, but it's good to know that you ain't what everyone thought you was going to be. Coming home, being institutionalized, not able to adjust, but it has been a process, and there's been a lot of stumbling stones. But the thing that's helped me the most is, excuse me, being grounded well, in my church, keeping a close relationship with God, and my wife. My wife has been my inspiration on so much. And when I start just here recently, things are tight,
hmm,
work slow because of the weather. So, she's got to remind me, look, that job is not your provider. God is our provider.
Amen.
So you know how it is when the wifey, hits you with some truth. You just got to kind of take it on the chin, so you right. So, but for the most part, man, it's been beautiful. I got to do some traveling. Me and the wifey, I know that's like, but it's it's a matter of being able to do stuff like that. I I definitely have grown quite a bit, in maturity as far as being responsible. So, uh, and the thing, I don't have no kids of my own, so I married into a big family, bro,
Right.
and you know, uh, Virginia, her three babies, man, they're awesome. I love them all, but then you start getting into these grandbabies. Whew,
Ain't that it?
and I gotta give a little shout out to my little dude, my little grandson, Azar. I love you. I know you watching me right now. I done got the note. My baby just snuck in here, slid me a note. Said Azar, he's waiting on you to say hi to him. So hi, Azar. But it's a beautiful thing because what the enemy is meant to steal from us, God's
Mm,
gonna replenish. And so
come on.
I come in here and stepped into this family, and it's been nothing but a blessing. It's a beautiful situation.
That part, that part. So, I'm big on the relationships and that helped me. So I'm a spin back on that here in a second, right?
Yeah.
So um what would you say has been like your biggest obstacle thus far?
My biggest obstacle was probably I'd have to say myself, man. I get in my
Hmm.
own way so much because I overthink things. I'm trying to do too much at once. I want it, as a lot of people in this day and time do, we expect microwave results. We want something to happen right when we want it to happen.
Right.
And I got to be mindful of the fact that it might not be the season right now. I got, you know, keep steadily reminding myself that I'm not the author, you know.
Right.
So I'm just one of the actors, So I thank God for where he's brought me so far, and I just got to put my faith in where he's going to lead us. But yeah, it's definitely been, I would say, me getting in my own way and trying to do things on my own has been my biggest obstacle, because I come home, bro, and you know how it is inside. I come home, I wasn't used to too much attention like that, especially from the
Mhm.
ladies. And I'm in a committed relationship, and then I had a Facebook page and had these women from I don't even know where coming at me in different directions,
Mhm.
and I had to delete that page. Because it's too much. I can't I
Right.
can't trust that I'm always going to respond properly. So now me and my baby, we share a page. So, it's definitely a better scenario and uh less chance of someone, shooting shots at me or something. So but that was
Ab-
something I needed to learn and work on and learn how to respond properly, because I don't want to lose what I got, man. I'll be honest. You know how it is when you got that right helpmate right there, bro. It's
yes,
you can't get around it. There ain't nothing better than that.
no doubt. Hey, I love that whole idea of, hey, I had to shut that down, man. We got together. Hey, you told wifey, hey, suit up. come,
Man,
come get in the game with me.
yeah.
Hey,
And like I said, it's still stuff, I know everybody deals with it, in their own little way, but my thought
yeah,
is you can't set yourself up for failure. I gotta try to set
right.
myself up for success because if I rely on my own thinking and trying to figure things out sometimes, I don't always make the best choices, obviously. So
Mhm.
I gotta try to set it up. I gotta try to let God be in control. And I gotta heed to the counseling of my wife. So
Yeah,
it's definitely, something like that. I would say that was, me getting over that stage. And without reluctancy, I just said, man, I'm deleting that page. You know, I'm
yeah,
we'll get a joint page together. And we didn't even do that right away. I was like, man, I went 26 years without a Facebook. I don't need one
right.
now.
No doubt.
So I wasn't tripping, but we got us one together anyway, so we can stay connected.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's as I'm listening to you, I'm like, yeah, we definitely, like become our own obstacle, man. But it's like all up here. It's just like when dude, asked you, about the PO and, you know, never would have even guessed that you was incarcerated, yet in
Right.
your own head, you figuring everybody know.
Right.
Not only do they not know, but like don't nobody really care.
Yeah.
But yet we
And
be in
like
our
dude didn't
own
even want to believe
heads.
me, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we be in our own heads like, like we
Yeah.
just know everybody know. And that kind of, the longer you let that fester, it ends up stagnating us.
Right.
Um, so yeah, to some degree, at least I know I did. I definitely dealt with that first coming home as well. That was a thing for me, what I mean, just feeling like everybody knew, or that, somehow my actions, were maybe out of place, and because we moved different in there. You know what I mean? So like it had to become a real quick crash course to try to kind of figure out the rhythm of life
Yeah.
versus the rhythm from in there. You know what I mean? Like inside there, we
Right.
moving at a snail's pace. It's real easy to find that rhythm. But then when you get out here, you got everybody moving at a different hyper speed. So you trying to find a rhythm and how your beat can fit in with the flow of life. And you used to moving so slow that you feel like you stick out like a sore thumb, but we don't realize like we really, what I mean? Like technologically and stuff, we may be behind a little bit, but like we not behind the way we think we are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We slow ourselves down. In some ways, we actually ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
so I've met, your wife, like love her dearly. I definitely love her for you. I think y'all a perfect match. She the frick to your frack. And I love that. Um, And I know, like, we went a long time, you know, held captive, and without like hand to hand relationships. So, how was that assimilation? Coming home into a relationship, getting married, like a ready made family. Like, how was that assimilation?
Man, it was extremely fast paced. It felt like, I, I come on because I stepped out, bro, and we had permanent guardianship of two of the grandbabies, you know.
Right.
And so when I got out, they was, man, I think Vieira was like 4 and Miles was like 5, maybe 6, going on 6, you know what I mean? But and they're great kids, I love them to death. But, coming out and trying to be um the man of the family, it was a lot of challenge for me, because I knew, well, I thought I knew what I had to do. My mindset was, okay, men are providers and protectors of their family, so, but I also have to be that teacher, because if I'm the only male role model in the children's life at the time, they had to be able to see me and think, okay, this is the direction that I need to pursue, and bro, we had these babies, man. I got video, man. I should have showed it to you already, but Vieira, this little girl, 6 years old, probably at the time, in church, just worshiping, bro. Hands up, eyes closed. She's feeling it, And these babies, because of the example that Virginia and I was setting for them, they got a taste of that and loved it. You know what I mean? You should see us going down the road, everybody screaming out some kind of gospel song that my baby got playing on the radio. You know,
Right.
people see us going by, they gotta think we're crazy, but it was a beautiful thing to be able to be a part of that. So uh, they seeing the little girl, that's what I was showing a friend of mine, man, JP, my little young buddy, man. I've been kind of mentoring him a little bit. Good dude, man. But I was showing him the video, and I said, because he's got two little ones right now. And I
Mhm.
said, bro, you got to be that example, because that little boy gonna look to you as this is how I want to be when I get bigger. And that little
Right.
girl, they said, little girl, little girl's daddy is their first love. She gonna look for a man that's got similar characteristics as her daddy. So that's the problem. If we're not being a good example, that's what leads into these future toxic relationships and volatile situations.
Mm.
So when we really love our little ones, we want the best for them. So the best thing I could do for them is show them the best man, the best version of me that I could be. You know,
Did you ever did you ever see yourself going back like the way we do with iron sharpens iron, man?
man. So it's ironic,
And, it- and
what I
it's
mean, when you stop and think
and,
about it.
and real quick before you answer that, like I've been like I know how I felt personally about this assignment that God put me on. And like I fought God on this, man. Like I was like Moses at that bush. I was trying to come up with every excuse well for why I couldn't do this because I really didn't want to. You know what I mean? Everything from well, how am I supposed to get back in there? Like they ain't gonna open the doors and let me back in.
Right.
Because I didn't want to. You know, I fought so hard to get up out of there. The last thing on my mind was going back into these
Yeah.
places where I'd spent over half of my life, right? So that's actually something that I've been wondering with all of the Iron Men. Like, I just came and kind of asked y'all, like, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is the kind of movement I'm on. And Pendleton and asked us to come in, like, what's up? But I ain't never once like really asked, like, how y'all feel about that? Because like that's really traumatic for us, right? so
Straight up.
so
Yeah. So
just bro to bro, how you feel about that, bro?
like I said, it is ironic, what I mean, that we fought so hard to get out of that place and now we going back in voluntarily. But
Yeah,
to me, bro, I'm gonna be honest, having done the amount of time that we done and the fact that I originally didn't even have an out date for the first 16 and a half years of my incarceration, which I was telling you before we started, time really flew by then,
right.
because I wasn't waiting on that out date. I wasn't looking forward to that out date. I just had to keep fighting and trying to, keep that hope alive that one day that door was going to open up. So, you know, I remember, saying, man, I ain't never going back to prison. People, oh, don't say never. Man, look, I don't believe in all that superstitious stuff. I believe in
Mhm.
God,
Yeah.
so I can tell you that I'm not ever going back to prison because I'm not going to subject myself to that type of environment, where
Mhm.
I'm going to get in trouble again. So, it definitely when you first hollered at me, because I'd already heard you started off a little bit, you was already getting into it, starting off at the reentry facility. So, I was kind of peeping you guys out, seeing you a little bit. And then you hit me up. You was like, bro, what's up, man? Want to know if you interested in coming on board, coming in with us. And for sure, yeah, because my biggest problem was that I was dealing with at that moment, at that time, was like a form of survivor's guilt,
Mm.
because I wasn't supposed to be out here according to them.
Right.
And you and I both know a whole lot of dudes that's really amazing men that won't ever have this opportunity. And
True
they're going to be
statement.
stuck in there. And so, yeah, that was something that I struggled with a lot, what I mean? Because I felt like, dang, I got brothers that I left in there. Not that I could do anything about it, but I wasn't supposed to be here. You know, I was supposed to be in there with them. At that time, they said that 98% of the prison population would be returned to society at one point in their life. And I was part of
Mhm.
that 2% that wasn't expected to ever see it again.
Right,
So, I did have a little bit of struggles with that. So, you invited me to join the organization, be able to come in there with iron sharpens iron and start working on, building these bridges of hope, you could say in that sense, because that's what we're doing is instilling hope in these guys that heard the same horror stories that we did before we got out. You
right,
can't get a job, you can't do this, everyone, it's parole's a setup. So it was always something that we was hearing. Then in the back of my mind, I was like, well, I'm gonna make it work regardless. But you're telling me parole's a setup, but you was out there doing the most, and then they cracked you. You know,
right.
how did they set you up? They give you a little bit of freedom, and you couldn't control it. You
Couldn't
know,
control.
but yeah, it was definitely something that I was struggling with at that time. Was that sense of survivor's guilt, and it was real. You know what I mean? Because I'm soft anyway, bro. You know what I mean? I might try to act hard at times, but man, and the older I get, the worse it is, bro. I can't even watch no Extreme Makeover Home Edition or something. Can't do it,
You fine.
man. But yeah, it's
Oh man.
that was a good thing, man. And then going in the first time, it was a little nerving, you know what I mean? And but it's been nothing but good, you know what I mean? Everything from the beginning on ain't been nothing but blessings, and it's an honor to be able to be a part of the Iron Man. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity that you awarded me.
That part. So out of all the times that we've been in, and it's been quite a many, um, is there a moment that like sticks out to you more than all the others that kind of brought everything full circle, that kind of, if not these exact words, that kind of gave you one of those, this is why I do it? Have you experienced
Man,
one of those moments since we've been going in?
man, cause yeah, it had to be one of those moments because there's been quite a few, and I know you've experienced multiple ones too. So,
Absolutely.
being able to go in there, especially when you see someone that's known you for a long time, someone you've done a lot of time with, and they're seeing you now, and being honest, everybody look different in some real clothes. So,
Yeah.
especially we would walk in there in some formal wear. Dudes are looking at us. We got ties on. But it's a whole different look. When
Yeah.
we're in there telling these dudes, this is what's out here waiting on you. All you gotta do is get here. You got it. It's yours. So seeing some of these guys that came up to me and said, "Man, it's amazing to see where you're at today, bro." And I thank you guys so much for coming in here. And then when guys they have big questions on their minds, something they're stressing on, and we're able to address that for them and
Right.
take away those doubts or fears. All that stuff makes it so much worthwhile. But I can't really pinpoint like one because there's been so many, man. So many. You know how it is when we do a seminar. As we're trying to leave, everyone's clinging on still. They're like, "Man, well, hold on, let me ask you." Hey. So it's a blessing to be able to know that you're impacting these lives like that because you don't know what kind of seed has been planted in there. All we can do is water it, you know what I mean, and hopefully see the good fruits from that. But it definitely makes me feel like my journey is worthwhile while I'm able to do something like that and be positive and give back.
Right.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. Like even for me, man, like I look at the Iron Man, man, and like I be so proud of y'all, right? Um, because somewhere along the journey, like I traveled part of that journey with each one of y'all. So I know where everybody come from.
Yeah.
So, that's part of the impact that I look in terms of us going back in. Like, I know the impact we having when we go in there and we seeing guys that saw us in a different light at one point in life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, whether we seemed hopeless in our mental or just in our actions. Because I
Right.
know like some guys that know me, before I started my transformation, like this blows their mind that I ever arrived to this place. You know what I mean?
Not
And that they
blue.
and you hear me, and that they let open the door and let me come back. Like
Yeah.
that in itself is amazing. Like I was amazed when they gave me the clearance to come back in.
Right.
Like, huh? But I mean, we know what it is. It
Man,
ain't nothing but God, man. But
it blows my mind, bro. I look at my volunteer badge and be like, man, I got a DOC volunteer badge. I can go in any facility in the state. Bro,
that part,
I remember I was up there in South Bend when you first got yours. You come in there, you was up there seeing Bowen one day,
yeah,
and you had your I said, what is that, bro? I see you. He was like, yeah, that's that statewide, boy. I can go any facility I need to, man. And like, what? That's crazy, The thought that they give
yeah,
someone like us, access to that. That's a
yeah.
beautiful thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, we definitely have shattered a lot of, expectations, I say, in that sense.
Facts. Shattered them, crumbled them to
Yeah,
dust. Hey, but a little sidebar real quick. So, me and Mutia work at Pace, right? So, we do this program breaking the chains. And we go back inside prisons and we facilitate MRT sessions, right?
yeah.
And I remember when it started off as a brainstorming idea.
Hmm.
Um, and I used to just sit there as we talked about it and talked about getting ready to try to, get back in there and get the doors open. And in my mind, I'm like I hope my past don't come back to bite me in the butt, right?
Right.
And the very first facility that okayed us and gave us the green light to come back in was CIF.
Really.
Blew my mind.
That's a
I
lot
was like,
though. I mean,
I, I was like, how?
because if you know, you know, right?
Because if
So
you know, you know.
figure that's the first one.
The
That
first
speaks
one,
volumes.
man, and I was just like, how? So I first had to go to my executive director and have a talk with her because I didn't want her to get blindsided and some stuff hit the table. So I'm like, hey, I used to be a different guy, right?
Right.
So and I put it on good because she knew who I was today and she respected the man that was sitting in front of her. Um
That's what's up.
my my second thing was to kind of I had to have a talk with God, like, dude, you got a quirky sense of humor, man,
Yeah.
to
But
send me back there. And then
but
I
see,
went
that's
to a
what that's what's
resource.
so crazy is that's how he works, man. He makes it so blatantly obvious that it ain't nothing but
Absolutely.
him. You know,
Absolutely. But
it can't
it's
be
it's
nothing
so
but him. So
it's so crazy. Like before we, like really learn to be still and pay attention to him, like as blatant as he makes it, just imagine we were missing those signs, bro. Like that's crazy. Like when
yeah,
you in alignment with him and your discernment is on point, you see him, and we know like he makes them so blatant that if
yeah,
you just give him your attention, you can't miss it.
yeah.
But we was missing the obvious for a long time, bro.
Right. We're a
Facts,
little slow, I
Tyrone. That's the
guess.
that's the word I was thinking of right there. Unveil. That veil came off our eyes.
Yeah.
Facts. Thank you, Tyrone. I appreciate that because I was thinking of the word in my head and it wouldn't come to
Hey, iron sharpens iron.
facts, man. That's bro right there. Look, even in the comments, man, like you can look in the comments and Darvin's talking about CIF, Lisa talking about CIF, and we gonna get into that later down the road in like episode 9 or something like that. Oh, hey man, yeah, man. But we went to a resource fair, right? And I ran into Wendy Knight at this resource fair, right? For Iron Sharpens Iron. After the resource fair was over with, I pulled up on her, like, can I speak to you off to the side for a second? So we went off to the side. I had to apologize to her, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and she thanked me for apologizing her, and then just proceeded to tell me like like prison made you too smart. On the cameras. Everywhere y'all would shift cameras following y'all, and we never could figure out what y'all was doing, how y'all was doing it. And before she could even do it, I was just like, "Don't ask, don't
Right.
ask, because I can't tell you."
Right.
Like, don't ask. But man, just when I think back on that stuff, man, it's real humbling, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's real humbling, man. Because it was a trying, it was a crazy, reckless journey, man. And like you said, what the enemy meant for bad, God turned it for good, man. And it's like,
Yeah.
look at us now, man. You know what I mean? Like it made it all make sense.
Right.
Um, in the end, like even going back, man, like to me, it's a no brainer because it's like if we ain't gonna do it, who gonna do it?
Right.
With the
Yeah,
type
for
of
sure.
credibility, that we have, you know what I mean? And God gives me the discernment, man. Like, the Iron Men that we have, the Iron Men that are yet to come, like these ain't just random picks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like every Iron Man that's on the team is supposed to be an Iron Man.
Right.
So like the impact is unparalleled because we walking in the will of the Lord, man. Like God has us on an assignment, man. I'm just grateful that everybody was willing
Yeah.
to be obedient to the call.
Right.
We making a huge having a great impact, man. So you know if I've never told you, I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
For all
Thanks,
that you
man. I
do,
appreciate you
man,
too.
and and just for your service, man, and being willing to do this. Like every time I call you, you there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You there. And
Right.
wifey ride shotgun. You know what I mean?
Man. Why
Suited,
she can't?
suited and armored,
Yeah.
suited and
So
armored, man. And I love it.
yeah, man, it's amazing, man. But it's like, bro, like when we was down there in the city, going to the All-Star events, we went and got a bite to eat afterward. Big group of us. It was everyone just meshed so well together. You know what I mean? And the reason is because we're all of a similar path. We all got a similar
Mhm.
mindset. Therefore, our ladies are on a similar mindset. And
Right.
everybody just, I mean, it was a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? It was a beautiful thing. We all enjoyed it. And I know you said we want to get together and do it again soon, but
Real soon.
it's something, man, that really had hit me was I was just talking to Virginia about it last night. And we was laying there just kicking it, before we fell asleep. But we talked a little bit about the podcast today and stuff. And I was telling her, that one of the big things for me that I was, when I was young, I remember my dad telling me this old parable, Indian parable. He said that a man can never drink from the same river twice. And
Hmm.
as a youngster, I didn't understand that, the analogy of it, you know what I mean? But as I grew older, I know it's because the river is always flowing, it's always changing. So I told her, I used to tell these youngsters, because we all have a handful of youngsters we used to mentor, but or still do, I should say. But
Yeah, right,
that we are all like rivers of life. Because we're always changing, man. Our
right.
bodies are going through a change right now as we speak. So when you stop and you think about everything that happened in your life before you was able to get to this point in your life, and what had to
Mhm.
take place before you was at this point, because the old blue wasn't on this, but
Right.
Jamarcus is. And, even though you tried to fight it, you know, God stepped in there. That's what I want you to do.
Yeah.
And so I do believe that, that obedience is key. That's why, like, when you ask without hesitation, yep, I'm there.
Yeah.
Because I know it's on me to be able to work them fields too. There's certain people that, for whatever reason, that I might not be able to reach when we're in there speaking in
Right.
these seminars. And there's some that you might not be able to reach. But as a collective group, that's what's so beautiful about it. All these Iron Men together,
Hmm.
anybody that comes in there can't say that they can't relate with at least somebody in that group
Right.
and be on a common ground. So, it's a beautiful thing, man. And I know that a lot of times we get focused on like I said, the results of things, and how quickly things are moving. But really, life is needs to be taken more like a crock pot or something, a little slower. But the end result is going to be so much sweeter, you know.
Right. So when was your moment of surrender?
Are we talking about to marriage or I'm probably getting ready to get something thrown at me
No,
right now.
no, right. Well, you get some eye daggers thrown at you right now. But to God. Like when was that moment when you were broken, man, and you surrendered to God, man, and allowed him
Yeah.
to be the author?
Um, to be honest, man, I was still trying to do everything myself for the longest while I was incarcerated. Uh,
Hmm.
everybody's mindset is I got a lawyer, I got to get me some money, I got to, so I went through that stage too, the veil that was still over my eyes, as you said. But
Hmm.
you know, after I spent a lot of money, easy come, easy go, and didn't get any kind of results, I'm sitting there done exhausted all my remedies, bro. You know, ain't got a have, ain't got nothing left. And all I could do was pray. At that point, I was like, I can't rely on a lawyer because he can't even get me into court nowhere. You know,
Right,
I just got to give it to God. I got to ask him, please. That's what he wants us to do is reach up and cry out to him. So as I do that, I start asking him to bless my path. As I'm going to the law library, I'm reading on his case laws. Back in the day when they didn't have the computer to sit there and get on it real easy, you're going through the big boy books. So that's what I asked him. God, I'm on my way to the law library. God, please, I'm just asking you right now to, bless this journey over here. Show me something that I haven't seen yet, something that's going to open these doors for me. And I found that case law, man. I ran across it that day. And it wasn't an old one, it just got published, but it opened that door for me, and
right,
it made me realize at that point it ain't nothing but him. And I can't do nothing but surrender. because,
Mhm.
like I said, trying to do things my way wasn't working. And as soon as I
Right.
put it in his hands, beautiful things start happening. So I would say that was probably my turning point as far as getting serious about God. You know what I mean? Because there was, we always, I grew up going to church as a kid, and I knew about God. I knew, the whole scenario, but I was still in my intellectual mindset thinking that, I got this, I'm not ready for that yet. Once I get my stuff all together, then I'll jump into that because, we don't want to be faking nothing. So that was my mindset, but I didn't realize that when I just gave it to him and came to him like just as how I am, he starts working on me. He's the one that
Right.
starts taking those negative thoughts out of my head. He's the one that starts putting more love into my heart, softening my heart more. And because we all, that's a product of the environment in there. Your heart hardens, you get
Yeah.
desensitized. I was just telling Virginia that I had me questioning myself at one point in my incarceration because I thought, man, am I like, is something wrong with me? Because I just watched this guy get hurt really bad, laying there about to lose his life probably. And my thought process was, Sally, hurry up and get some ice and get up out that shower, man. I got to get a shower because I know we're getting locked down.
Right.
And it's like afterward, I sitting there and I thought about it, just reflecting. I was like, wow, man, that's crazy. I didn't even stop and think, oh my God, there's something I could do to help save this man's life because I was so used to seeing the violence. And I
Right.
mean, I know I ain't got to tell you, too, but it was a matter of where I was questioning myself, man. Is something wrong with me? Because I don't have feelings for other people like that. But,
Right.
God's changed all that, man. Now, if I see something, it ain't going to freak me out. But for sure, I have genuine care and concern and compassion. So uh, he's definitely changed a lot in that. And I just got to keep riding out with him, man. I can't do nothing but ride out with him. Mhm.
No doubt. Your morals been reactivated.
Yeah.
I remember I was at Miami, like when God really got my attention. And it took me back to your statement a moment ago about the blatant things that he do or does to get our attention, right? And I was coming in from work one day and going back to the housing unit, and I was sitting in the sally port waiting on them to open the door. And this guy walks in, and I just kind of glanced at him and didn't recognize him, so I went on by my business and just kept waiting. And then he was like, "You don't remember me, do you, Marcus?" The hairs on the back of my neck stood up because, like, don't nobody in the joy call me Marcus. So when I heard that, I immediately knew that was somebody from the streets, right? And so I looked him up and down, and I'm like, "Nah." And he told me his name, right? And it was the dude who had shot my brother in the head.
Mm.
And I had vowed, like, whenever I saw him, I was gonna paint the walls red with him, right? But in that moment, all I could keep saying was, "Wow." I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Wow." Man, I probably said "wow" about 30 times before they opened that door. I couldn't find
Yeah.
no other words to come out my mouth but "wow,"
Yeah.
because everything in my flesh wanted to do something, but my heart and my spirit kept me frozen.
Right.
And when the door opened, I just, like, in a trance-like state, just walked to my room. And when they opened the door, I walked in and I sat on my box. And my bunkie was like, "What's up, bro? You good?" I was like, yeah. I said, I just seen the dude who shot my brother. So he jumped up and got to grabbing his shoes, like, man, what's up? I said, nah, bro. I said, I'm good. I said, it was the test and I passed it. And he was
Yeah.
like, what you mean it was a test? I said, man, I've been for about the last 5 years now. I've been begging God for forgiveness. I've been reaching out to my victim's mom, begging her for forgiveness. And God put me in a position and asked me, how are you going to act when you're the one who needs to forgive?
Yeah.
From that moment on, he's had me.
Right.
He's had me. And then,
Yeah.
like, just being the type of thinkers that we are, I'm sitting on my bunk and I'm like, trying to analyze, like, how long have I been around this dude and, like, didn't even recognize him?
Right.
Like we carry some heavy stuff in our hearts and in our spirit for a long time, man. I'm talking about, and I was angry about this stuff. And then I come to find out I've been working in the same building with this dude for like 5 months.
Wow.
But here I am carrying this anger and this bitterness around in me, like that's affecting me.
Right.
And I'm around this dude all the time. And that just go to show, man, like we be carrying some stuff, man, and like God is amazing at how he moves, man.
Yeah.
God is
Yes.
amazing at how he moves, man. It's amazing. But from that moment on, man, like he
Yeah.
had my attention, man. I surrendered, man, and like I locked in with him, man. I
Yeah.
locked in with
That's
him.
that's good stuff, man. And I was telling you the other day, that my mother moved in here with us, and
Yes.
it's she's going through a little bit of stuff, trying to get back on her feet and very reluctant. She hard headed. Uh but it was a matter of her and I talking just the other day. She don't like the idea that she has to be here with us, we're newlyweds, she says, so uh but man, I had to tell her, bro, it's such a blessing to be
Hmm.
able to have her here because how long I spent in there and the things that my mama went through while I was in there, and all I wanted was to be able to be out there and be there for her. And I
Right.
couldn't. You know how that feels, bro. And so now that we have an opportunity to do that, to be able to be there for her, regardless if she likes it or not, you know what I mean? We love her and we wanna give her that. We want her to, in the best situation possible. And I thank God for Virginia because she's been amazing in this process, helping my mama out. You
Yes.
know, uh so it's just everything the way it plays out, bro, it can't be nothing but God. The way he sets things up, when we feel like it's the end, it's oh man, it's all going down, it's crumbling on me right now. God comes in and, saves the day. He
Right.
comes in and changes everything up. We definitely anyone that's got a connection with God, it's undeniable. When you stop and look at all the miracles that he's performed in our lives. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. um, so you already know time fly when you're having fun.
Yeah,
So we had about 5 minutes and some change, man. So anything you want to stay in their brain with, man? Uh,
man.
anything you want to
So,
share? Anything you got coming up? Anything you got going on? Talk to us.
man, God's so good, bro. So, uh, first I want to shout out all the Iron Men, man. We love y'all. Definitely a band of brothers. You know,
Thanks.
uh, trying to be involved in all the little seminars and any kind of events we got coming up. But this Sunday, I actually just my pastor came to me a couple weeks ago and he hit me up. He said, "I want to get you up there behind that pulpit." So Sunday I'll be
Mm.
leading service in my church. Um, who would ever thought? It's a beautiful thing because uh, it's just the start. You know what I mean? I've been out for 3 years. Just got off of parole a little over a year ago. Got married a little over a year ago. You know, uh, and God's been blessing our path throughout this, man. So it's confirmation knowing that when you start being obedient and trying to do the right thing, that God's
Yeah.
gonna bless that path for you. I
Yes,
look at
sir.
things that still, I know things get tight. Everybody goes through their struggles, but bro, we're buying this house. Our first house. Uh, Living here, got a beautiful situation, got nice vehicles. You know what I mean? Good job. What more could a man ask for? You know what I mean? A beautiful wife, beautiful family, beautiful life.
Yeah.
And my wife is such a good cook. I come home stacking on 60 pounds in 6 months, still working that off right now. So I can't complain. It's a good problem to have.
Right.
But yeah, I just want to say, man, everybody stay tuned because we ain't done. We just getting started.
Yes, sir. Patrick in the pulpit. So, how can people like check you out? Are y'all online? Like, what church you go to? Give us the information, man, in case they wanna tune in.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to check it out, I'm going to be kind of giving a little bit of my testimony and trying to tie it into some good food. Put some meat out there for everybody to chew on. But my church, I go to Central Community Chapel. You can look them up on Facebook. They do go live for every service. So anybody if you want to check us out, uh, look it up on Facebook as Community Central or Central Community Chapel. So it's out of Anderson, but yeah, you can go on there on Facebook, link in. They're going to go live. It starts about 10:30 Sunday morning. So I urge everybody come check us out. You might just learn something. God
That
might put
part.
something in all of our hearts.
And while we closing up, can you also type the name of the church in the chat, Virginia? We see the time at 10:30 a.m. Can you type the name in the chat for anybody who might want to check that out? Um,
Look, I got grandbabies
man,
requesting shout outs now and stuff. My little princess,
don't
baby.
give it to
Get it? Yeah. All them grandbabies. I love you guys. Love you, Valen. Love you, Azai. And I might as well say love you, Bayessa, too, because you're gonna be next. But
them.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Man, that's what's up, man. Uh, man, as usual, man, I thank everybody for tuning in. And then the name of the church and the time is in the chat room. Virginia just put it in there. Central Community Church, 10:30 a.m. You can catch him on Facebook, 10:30 live. Patrick will be in the pulpit sharing his testimony. So make sure y'all tune in and support. Um, and I thank y'all for tuning in, man, as usual, man. Like, every Wednesday, man, we in this thing. So we'll be back again next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, uh, with another one of the Iron Men, elevating and
Chapel.
illuminating. Um, you can always go to the website, Iron Sharpens Iron, WAST.org. Check us out, check out the calendar, see what we got going on, kind of get to know the Iron Man and just the movement in itself. If you feel led to want to become part of the organization, reach out to us. We got volunteer forms you can fill out. We getting ready to go through a season, some new board members. So check it out, see what we got going on. And if you feel led to donate, there's a donation page on there. You can get on and help support the movement. Um, I mentioned last week, I'm currently in a entrepreneurial impact of the year competition with Forbes magazine. We are in the second national round, and they'll be chopping it down to the top 15 in the country tomorrow at 7 p.m. The voting ends, but until 9 p.m. tonight, every vote counts as double. So if you haven't been on it, if you haven't voted, I'm asking y'all to go to my Facebook page, Todd Fields. That is Todd. Last name Fields, Fields. And hit the link and cast a vote for me, man. And let's get it. Help me to move on to this top 15, then on to the top 10. Uh, and then I see y'all at the finish line, man. Because we ain't gonna play no games with it, man. Uh, and hit that subscribe button on this YouTube, man. Let's keep it going, man. I expect to see all y'all back next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. Until then, y'all have a good night. I appreciate y'all. Love is love. Patrick, love you, bro. Appreciate
Love
you.
you, bro.
Uh, I see you in a minute, and I definitely be checking you out Sunday.
For sure, man. All right, love
All right.
everybody, man. Love all the Iron Men. Love my grandbaby. Love you, Zach. We'll see you guys soon, man.
Good night, everybody.